The crash hit was a cold and quiet night on Earth. The sky was full of stars, and the forest near the old war zone was still. Jake Miller, a former soldier, lived alone in a small cabin near the woods. He was tired of war and wanted peace. But that night, something strange happened. A loud sound broke the silence. Boom. The ground shook. Birds flew out of the trees. Jake stepped outside quickly, holding a flashlight and a small weapon. In the distance, he saw smoke rising. A red light was glowing through the trees. He followed the sound as he walked deeper into the forest. He saw a crash site. A small spaceship had fallen from the sky. It was broken, on fire, and smoking heavily. Pieces of metal were everywhere. Jake moved slowly and carefully. "This isn't human," he whispered. The ship was clearly alien. Surface was smooth and silver, but covered in strange symbols. The door of the ship was broken open. Jake looked inside. What he saw made him freeze. Inside the ship were 3 small bodies. They were aliens. 2 of them were not moving, probably dead. One was alive. Barely. It was a small child, glowing faintly with silver skin and large blue eyes. The child was bleeding and weak. Jake quickly stepped forward. "Hey, stay with me," he said. The child looked up at Jake. Its eyes were full of fear, pain, and hope. Then the alien child spoke clearly, in perfect English. "Please, Amari. My mom, human. She's all I have left." Jake blinked. He thought he heard it wrong. What did you say?" he asked. The child took a deep breath and repeated, "Please. Marry my mom. Save her. She's the only one left." Then the child fainted. Jake stood frozen, confused and shocked. He had seen strange things in the war, but this. A child from another world asking him to marry its mother. He had no time to think. Suddenly, he heard something: machines. Flying. Drones. Red lights blinked in the sky. Military drones were scanning the area. They would find the crash soon. And if they found the alien child, they would take it. Maybe even kill it. Jake had to act fast. He grabbed the small alien child, wrapped it in his jacket, and ran back through the woods. The drones flew overhead, scanning the wreckage. One light passed over Jake, but he ducked behind a tree just in time. Breathing hard, he reached his cabin. He locked the door and put the child on the couch. It was still unconscious. Jake looked closely. The alien was no older than 7 or 8 in human years. Its skin had a smooth, silver tone. Its face was small, almost human-like, but with large, glowing eyes and strange marks near the ears. He cleaned the wounds and covered the child with a blanket. "What have I gotten myself into?" Jake whispered. He stared at the child. The words kept echoing in his mind. "Marry my mom. She's all I have left. ... Who was this child? Where was his mother? Why did he speak English? And why him? Jake sat down beside the couch, still holding his weapon. The forest outside was quiet again. But something told him this was just the beginning. Then, small beep came from the child's pocket. Jake reached in and pulled out a round, glowing device. It showed a hologram of a woman, tall, elegant, with silver skin and long blue hair. She looked like a queen. The message began to play. Her voice was soft but serious. "If you have found my son, please help him. He is in great danger, and if he has chosen you, then I must trust you. Protect him. I will find you. I promise." The message ended. Jake stared at the device. His hand was shaking. Double quotes, "Great. Now I've got alien royalty in my house," he said. To himself, he didn't know it yet, but this child was not just any alien. He was the son of a queen. And soon, Jake would be pulled into a galactic secret, a battle between worlds. and a bond that would change his life forever. But for now, he just watched the child sleep, guarding him from whatever was coming next. Outside, one of the drones hovered and flew away. The alien child didn't wake up for hours. Jake stayed close, watching him carefully. The small creature slept on the old couch, wrapped in a wool blanket, breathing slowly. Outside, the forest was calm again. But inside Jake's mind, a storm was building. He kept hearing those strange words. "Please marry my mom, human. She's all I have left." Jake had seen aliens during the war, terrifying ones, but this child wasn't scary. He looked lost, broken, and innocent as the sun rose. Light fell through the window and touched the child's face. Suddenly, the child gasped. His eyes snapped open. Blue light glowed inside them. He sat up quickly, breathing hard. "It's okay. You're safe," Jake said, raising his hands. The child looked around, confused. Then he saw Jake, and his expression changed. You didn't leave me," the child said softly. Jake nodded. "Of course not. I pulled you from the wreck." The child touched his chest. His skin had bruises, but he was healing fast. There was something strange about him. His body shimmered slightly, like light passing through water. Then he looked into Jake's eyes and said, "I chose you, human. You're the only one who can help her." Jake sat down across from him. "All right, kid, time to tell me the truth. Who are you? Who's your mom? And why me?" The child looked down. His voice became quiet. "My name is Zero. I'm from the planet Varelia. My mother is Queen Eratia, ruler of the last peaceful tribe after the Galactic War." Jake blinked. "You're a prince." Zero nodded. Double quotes, "She sent me away when the rebels attacked our palace. She said she would follow, but her ship was hit. I crashed. And I thought I was going to die until you came." Jake tried to stay calm. "Why did you ask me to marry your mom?" Zero looked up. His eyes were full of pain. "Because you're human. Your DNA is rare. Your kind survived 1,000 wars, and your spirit is strong. My people, we are dying. Only a bonding with a human can save her." Jake rubbed his forehead. "Bonding? You mean marriage?" Zero nodded slowly. "It's not like your Earth marriage. It's a soul bond. Our energy connects. It gives strength. My mother is wounded and weak. Without that bond, she will fade." Jake stood up, walking around the room. This was insane. He was just a simple man living in the woods. Now an alien prince was asking him to save a queen by bonding souls. But why me? Why not someone else? Zero hesitated, then pulled something from his pocket. It was a small, glowing stone. It floated in the air and turned toward Jake. "She gave me this. It searches for the right spirit, the one strong enough to carry our light. It led me to your signal, to your cabin. You were chosen." Jake stared at the stone. It spun faster when near him, glowing brighter. Then Zero did something strange. He placed both hands on the stone, and it showed a memory. A vision appeared in the air. Jake, during the war, saving civilians, risking his life to protect a group of alien children. One of them was Zero, younger, hiding behind rubble. "You saved me once," Zero whispered. "You didn't even know it was me." Jake swallowed. The memory was real. He had helped during a battle years ago, but he had never known who the children were. Zero continued, "I never forgot you. That's why I trusted you now." Suddenly, a red light blinked on Jake's wall. An alert system, motion sensors in the forest were triggered. Jake rushed to the monitor. A vehicle was approaching fast. Not military, not human. He turned to Zero. "Did anyone follow you?" Zero's eyes widened. "They're here. The bounty hunters." Jake grabbed a rifle and tossed a small knife to Zero. "Can you fight?" Zero caught the blade with steady hands. "I was trained before I could walk." Moments later, the front door exploded open. A tall figure stepped in, armored, masked, and armed with alien tech. Red eyes glowed through the helmet. Jake and Zero jumped behind the couch as shots fired. Energy blasts burned holes in the walls. Jake rolled, aimed, and fired. The bounty hunter took the hit and fell back, but not dead. Zero ran toward him, jumped high, and slashed with the glowing knife. The hunter screamed and dropped his weapon. Jake pulled Zero back. The hunter pressed a button on his belt. Before they could stop him, he vanished into thin air. Teleported. Jake shut the door, breathing hard. Smoke filled the air. "That won't be the last one," Zero said. Shaking, Jake looked at him seriously. "Then we'd better find your mother." Fast outside, clouds gathered in the sky. The hunt had begun. The smell of smoke still hung in the air. Jake patched up the wall where the energy blast had hit. The couch was burned, and the front door was gone. Zero sat quietly near the window, watching the forest like a soldier. He didn't blink much. He didn't talk. Jake could see it in the boy's eyes, fear pretending to be strength. "They'll be back," Zero said. "Next time, they won't come alone." Jake nodded. "That guy wasn't trying to kill you. He was testing." Zero turned. "They want to take me alive. To get to my mother." Jake knelt beside him. "Then we leave before they return. Far away, off this planet." Zero's eyes flickered with hope. "You'll help me." "Again, I already did," Jake said. "Can't stop now." They moved fast. Jake knew the old forest better than anyone. Underneath it, hidden by vines and time, was a forgotten tunnel left over from the last war. It led to an abandoned war base, deep underground. Before sunrise, they were gone. The base was cold and silent. Dust floated in the air. Old tech still blinked on the walls. Jake powered up a backup generator. Lights came on, buzzing weakly. Zero explored the place like a curious cat. In one of the rooms, Zero found an old star map projector. With a few strange clicks, the galaxy lit up on the walls, spinning stars, blue planets, red suns. Then he tapped one glowing point. "That's where she is," Zero whispered. "I feel it. My mother. She's still alive." Jake stared at the point. It blinked a tiny moon near a dark planet. Jake checked the database. No signal from that region. No communication. "It's blocked." "That's why they hid her there," Zero said. "No one goes near that system. It's cursed." Jake smiled. "I've been cursed before." But there was a problem. Jake didn't have a ship. Not anymore. His last one was sold for food 2 years ago. They needed a pilot, and someone crazy enough to fly into a dead zone. Luckily, Jake knew just the person. Her name was Mira Voss. Ex-pilot, smuggler, half human, half machine. She lived in the dark corners of the sky. Jake sent her a signal using an old war code. 3 hours later, she landed near the base in a black, quiet ship that looked like a flying knife. Mira stepped out, chewing a bright green candy. "Well, well," she said, looking at Zero. "You finally got a kid, Jake. Thought you hated responsibility." "He's not mine," Jake said. "But he needs help." Mira squinted. "He's not human." Zero stepped forward, holding his head high. "I am Prince Zero of Aurelia. My mother, Queen Arasha, is in danger. We must reach her before the bounty hunters do." Mira raised her eyebrows. "Okay, didn't see that coming." Jake crossed his arms. "Can you get us there or not?" Mira smiled. "For you? I'll double my price. Triple it if we die," Jake replied. The ship was silent inside. Smooth floors. Blue. Lights, old but fast. Zero stared out the window as stars blurred past. Jake sat beside him. You okay? Zero nodded slowly. I miss her. Jake didn't speak. He just sat beside him. After a while, Zero whispered, Back on my planet, we had stories of humans. Some said you were monsters. Others said you were protectors. I think you're both. Jake chuckled. Most of us are just tired. Zero looked at him. Do you have a family? Jake stared at the stars. Used to. Lost them in the war. Zero didn't ask more. He just sat closer. Suddenly, alarms. Red lights flashed. Mira's voice crackled over the speaker. We've got company. Enemy cruiser on our tail. Big one. Jake ran to the cockpit. How did they find us? Mira pulled the ship hard to the left. They probably tracked your signal. They knew you'd run. Outside, the enemy ship was massive, black and red, shaped like a beast with glowing eyes. It fired plasma beams. Lighting the dark space, Zai-Ru rushed in. They want me. We have to lose them. Mira activated stealth mode. The ship dimmed and the engines cooled. But it wasn't enough. The enemy cruiser launched a tractor beam, pulling them in. Jake looked at Mira. You said this thing has tricks. Mira grinned. It does. She pushed a hidden switch. The ship's back opened, releasing old space mines. The cruiser hit one hard. It shook. For a moment, the tractor beam flickered. Jake turned to Zero. Now, do you trust me? It's Zero? Nodded. Jake grabbed a small escape pod. We launch separately. They'll follow the main ship. Myra can shake them off. We land near the moon where your mother is. Zero climbed into the pod. If we crash again, Jake smirked. We crash together. The pod launched just as the main ship spun away. The enemy cruiser chased Mira. Jake and Zero flew alone into the dark. Ahead, the cursed moon waited, but Jake could feel it too now. Someone was calling, and she was still alive. Asterisk. The escape pod shook as it entered the moon's dark atmosphere. Inside, Zero held on tight, his small hands gripping the edge of his seat. His heart was beating fast. Beside him, Jake kept his eyes on the controls. Smoke rose from the dashboard, warning lights flashing red. We're coming in too fast. Jake yelled. Zero didn't answer. He closed his eyes and whispered something. In his language, a quiet prayer. The pod crashed into the rocky ground, sliding across the dusty surface. Sparks flew. Metal screamed. Then, silence. Jake coughed, kicking open the hatch. Gray dust filled the air. The sky above was black with petite. No stars, like the moon itself, was hiding from the universe. He looked at Zero, still alive. Zero groaned. Barely. They stepped outside. The air was thin, but breathable. The ground was cracked and dry, like something had drained all the life from it. This place? Zero whispered. It wasn't always like this. Jake looked. Around? Where's your mother? Zero closed his eyes again. He placed a small glowing stone on his forehead. It blinked once, then pulsed. She's near, he said. But she's in pain. Weak. Jake pulled his weapon. Then we move. Fast, they walked 4 miles across the dead moon. Strange metal towers stood in the distance, tall and broken, like bones of a forgotten city. Nothing moved. No birds, no wind, only silence. Then they saw it. A dark prison, half buried in rock. It wasn't made by Zero's people. The design was different, sharp, cold, inhuman. This is a Reaper structure, Jake said. Enemy tech, old but dangerous. Zero's face turned pale. They must have found her ship and trapped her here. They snuck through the outer gate, careful not to trip the sensors. Inside, the walls were cold metal. The halls were long and empty. But the feeling was wrong. The air was thick, like fear had soaked into the walls. Jake checked each room. They're still here. We need to stay quiet. Zero paused. No, they're gone. But something worse is here. Jake frowned. What do you mean? Zero pointed to a door at the end of the hallway. She's behind that door. Jake approached carefully, ready to shoot. He opened it slowly. Inside was light dot, not from a machine. It came from her queen. Arasha, she floated in the center of the room, held in a field of energy. Her body looked weak, almost fading, but her face was calm, proud. Her silver skin shimmered softly. Her hair flowed like water. Zairu ran to her. Mother, her eyes opened slowly. Zero, my little star. The energy field began to crack as Zero touched it. Jake stepped back, stunned by her presence. She was beautiful, yes, but there was something else. Something ancient. Something powerful. Arasha's eyes met Jake's. You, she said softly. The human? Jake cleared his throat. Yeah. Jake, your kid said I'm supposed to marry you. A faint smile touched her lips. He always did believe in legends. Jake helped her down as the energy field broke. She collapsed slightly, and he caught her. You're hurt, he said. I'm dying, she replied. This prison feeds on my energy. I've been here for days, maybe weeks. Time feels strange here. Zero held her hand tightly. You said you'd find me. I knew you would. Arasha touched his cheek. You are my heart, Zero. I would cross galaxies for you. Jake looked at them, unsure. So what now? You said something about bonding, energy healing? Arasha nodded slowly. Our kind connects through soullight, but only with someone pure of will. A human bond can restore me. If the connection is true, Jake raised an eyebrow. You mean like love? Not the way humans understand it, she said. It is trust, sacrifice, a joining of spirits. Jake glanced at Zero, then at her. Well, I don't exactly trust aliens, but your son, he's brave, smart, worth risking everything for. Zero smiled. That is enough, Arasha whispered. She reached out her hand. Jake took it. A soft glow formed around them, gold and blue, mixing like fire and water. Jake felt warmth move through him, a pull in his chest, like memories not his own. War, peace, stars being born, and silence between galaxies. Then it stopped. Arasha stood tall again, her eyes bright, her voice strong. You've done it. She said, the bond has begun. Jake stepped back. Okay, that was weird. Zero laughed for the first time in days, but before they could rest, a red alarm lit up on the wall. Jake cursed. They're back. Arasha's face turned serious. We need to leave. Now, outside, enemy ships were landing. Soldiers in dark armor poured out. Weapons ready. Jake handed Zero a blade. Time to protect your mom. Zero nodded. Time to protect my family. The war wasn't over. But now, they were together. The alarms kept screaming. Jake led the way out of the prison, weapon in hand, scanning every shadow. Arasha and Zero followed close behind. The moon's surface shook as enemy ships landed, their engines roaring like thunder. Arasha was still, weak, but she walked with her head high. Zero pressed close to her side, clutching his glowing knife. Outside, the sky had changed. Giant ships blocked out the little light. The ground shook with every step. The enemy soldiers, in black and red. Armor moved in silent lines, their faces hidden behind metal masks. Jake checked the path to Mira's ship. It was cut off. Enemy troops were already searching the landing field. No way out that way. Jake muttered. He looked around, searching for anything. A tunnel, a cave, a miracle. Then he saw a narrow crack in the rocks, half covered by metal debris. "This way," he shouted. They slipped through the gap, crawling on hands and knees. Behind them, the soldiers searched the prison, finding only empty rooms. Inside the tunnel, it was cold and dark. Jake's flashlight flickered. Strange shapes covered the walls, old carvings, alien writing, forgotten warnings. Zero paused. "This is ancient," he whispered. "My people used to live here before the war." Arasha nodded. "These tunnels saved us once. Maybe they will save us again." They hurried through the darkness. Sounds of battle echoed above blasts, shouts, the crash of metal. Every few minutes, dust rained down from the ceiling. Jake wondered if the tunnel would hold. Finally, they found an exit. The tunnel opened onto a ruined city, built into the side of a canyon. Tall towers leaned sideways, broken by old explosions. Streets were cracked and full of bones, not all of them human. Arasha looked at the ruins with sadness in her eyes. This was once our capital, a place of music and light. Zero touched her arm. "It will be again, Mother." Jake scanned the skyline. He spotted a small ship, half buried in rubble, its hull shining faintly. "That's our ride," he said. As they moved through the empty streets, they heard footsteps. Shadows flickered between the broken buildings. Suddenly, a squad of enemy soldiers appeared, blocking the way. Their leader stepped forward, raising his weapon. "Give us the queen," he ordered, its voice cold through the helmet. Jake stepped in front of Arasha and Zero. "You want her? You'll have to go through me." The soldiers raised their guns. Jake raised his too, hands steady. Arasha whispered, "Don't waste your strength, Jake. They only understand fear." She closed her eyes. A soft blue light glowed around her hands. The ground began to shake. The enemy soldiers hesitated, fear in their eyes. Zero joined her, adding his light to hers. A wall of energy swept forward, knocking the soldiers back. Some ran, others dropped their weapons and fell to their knees. Jake stared in shock. "Remind me never to make you mad." Arasha smiled, her face pale, but proud. "We are not helpless, human." They hurried on, reaching the small ship. Jake checked the systems, still working, but damaged. "It'll fly," he said, "but it won't." "Be quiet." Zero climbed into the co-pilot seat. "I can help. My people built these ships." Arasha took the seat behind them, holding her side. She was still bleeding from an old wound. Jake started the engines. The ship shook, dust flying everywhere from the city. More soldiers ran toward them, firing shots that sparked against the hull. "Hang on!" Jake shouted. He pulled the controls. The ship lifted off, wobbling through the ruins, then shot into the sky. Enemy ships followed, firing green and red beams. The whole moon seemed to be burning. Arasha winced. "We won't make it far. They've poisoned me, slow and cruel. Only the bond can keep me alive." Zero looked at Jake, desperate. "We have to finish the soul bond. Only you can heal her." Jake's hands tightened on the controls. He'd never felt so helpless, or so needed. He remembered the warmth he'd felt back in the prison when Arasha reached for him. He closed, his eyes focusing on her presence, on the trust between them. Suddenly, the cockpit glowed gold and blue. The ship steadied, flying faster and higher. Arasha's breath slowed. Her eyes glowed with new strength. "You're doing it, Jake?" she whispered. "We are stronger together." Enemy ships closed in, but now the small ship moved like a living thing, dodging blasts, weaving through debris. Zero shouted, "I knew it! I knew you would save her!" They broke through the blockade, engines blazing. Behind them, the moon grew, smaller, swallowed by shadows. Inside the ship, Jake, Zero, and Arasha sat together, their hands joined. For the first time, they felt not just like survivors, but like a family. The war was not over, but hope had returned. The stars rushed by. Outside the small ship, blue and gold light flickering across the cockpit. Jake kept his hands on the controls, but his mind felt different. Ever since the escape, something inside him had changed. Zero sat next to him, silent for the first time since they met. He watched his mother, worry and hope mixing in his bright eyes. Arasha sat behind them, her skin no longer as pale. The poison inside her was fading, but her strength wasn't fully back. The ship was safe for now, but danger still waited beyond the next planet. Jake glanced at Arasha through the reflection in the glass. "How are you feeling?" She smiled softly, but it was tired. "I am alive because of you, Jake. But the bond, it is not finished." Jake shifted in his seat. "How do we finish it?" Zero answered, his voice trembling. "You must share. Memories share pain too. Our kind believes true strength is born from understanding each other's wounds." Jake nodded. He thought about his past battles, the friends he lost, the lonely years in the woods. He wondered if Arasha could ever understand that kind of pain. Arasha placed a hand gently on his shoulder. "Let me see." Jake closed his eyes. Suddenly, he saw flashes of Arasha's life. A bright city full of music, a little silver-haired boy running through gardens, a war exploding across her world, fire in the sky, her people dying. He saw her hiding Zero, her hands shaking, her promise to find him again. Then he saw his own memories, the ruined Earth cities, the bombs, the friends who never came home, the empty cabin in the forest, his wish for peace and family. Arasha's hand squeezed tighter. She whispered, "We are not so different, Jake." He opened his eyes. There were tears on his cheeks and on hers. Suddenly, alarms blared again. Mira's voice echoed from the ship's speakers. Her transmission was weak. But Jake recognized the tough smuggler's tone. "Jake, if you can hear me, enemy ships are coming. Big ones. You need to hide or fight." Jake turned to Arasha and Zero. "I'm not leaving you. Not again." Arasha nodded. "We face them together." Zero gripped his mother's hand. "We're a family now. I won't run." The ship shook as plasma blasts hit their shields. Jake steered hard, diving toward an empty asteroid field. Rocks spun around them, huge and dangerous. "Hold on." Jake shouted. Zero closed his eyes, focusing his energy. The ship's lights glowed brighter, shields growing stronger. Arasha reached out, touching Jake's hand and Zero's shoulder. She started to sing, a quiet melody in a language Jake couldn't understand, but it calmed him, helped him focus. The enemy ships closed in. For a moment, it seemed there was no way out, but the bond between them was growing. Jake felt new power inside himself, calm strength. Arasha's energy mixed with his, guiding his hands. Zero's hope was like a light in the dark. Together, they dodged the blasts, slipping between spinning rocks. The enemy ships crashed into the asteroids, one after another. Finally, silence. Jake let out a long breath. "We made it." Arasha smiled. Truly smiled this time. "You saved us, Jake. You saved me." Zero hugged his mother, then hugged Jake. 2. Jake felt awkward, but happier, feeling he hadn't known for years. Arasha looked into Jake's eyes. "The bond is complete now. You are part of our people, our family. Our souls are joined. What hurts you, hurts us. What heals us, heals you." Jake tried to joke. Does that mean I get a crown? Zero grinned. You get something better. You get us. For a while, the three of them just sat together, holding hands as the stars drifted by. For the first time since the war, Jake didn't feel alone. Suddenly, the ship's computer beeped a message from Virelia Zero's homeworld. Arasia read the screen. The people need a leader. The rebellion is growing. They think I am dead. Jake looked at her, then at Zero. I'm with you, he said. Let's show them you're alive. Arasia nodded, hope shining in her eyes. Together, we are stronger. Together, we can bring peace. The journey was not over. The greatest battle was still ahead. But Jake knew one thing now. He had a purpose. He had a family. He was no longer just a soldier or a lost man in the woods. He was part of something bigger, a bond that could change two worlds forever. The royal city of Virelia shimmered beneath twin suns, but its streets were silent. Towers once alive with music and laughter were now gray and empty. The people waited, holding their breath, watching the sky. A streak of light appeared, Jake's ship, battered but unbroken, gliding through the clouds. The ship landed in the old palace courtyard. Dust swirled in the air as the hatch opened. First, Zero stepped out. He stood tall, head high, wearing a small royal sash. His silver skin glowed in the sunlight. He looked back, holding out his hand. Queen. Arasia emerged next, regal, even in her tiredness. Her wounds were healing, her eyes bright with new hope. She held Zero's hand tightly. Last came Jake, a human in worn clothes, blinking against the alien sunlight. The crowd stared at him, curious and afraid. Zero looked around, then spoke, his voice stronger than ever. This is my family. My mother, your queen, and Jake, the human who saved us both. The people gasped. Some stepped forward, others knelt suddenly. A group of rebels stormed into the courtyard, shouting for the queen's arrest. Their leader, a tall, scarred alien with burning eyes, raised a weapon. No more human lies, he yelled. The queen is dead. Surrender. Jake stepped forward, placing himself between the rebels and Arasia. You'll have to go through me first. The rebel leader laughed. You think one human can stop a war? But Zero stepped forward too, fearless. He's not just a human, he's family. He is bonded to the queen by soullight. He carries our hope. As the rebels charged, Arasia and Zero joined hands with Jake. A brilliant wave of gold and blue light burst from them, flooding the courtyard. The ground trembled, and every weapon was pulled from rebel hands. The light touched everyone, fear faded, anger melted. The rebels fell to their knees, tears streaming down their faces. The city's people rose, cheering, hope returning at last. A voice echoed through the crowd, strong and clear. We are not divided, we are one people. We survived because we had each other. We will rebuild together, side by side with our new family among the stars. She turned to Jake, taking his hand in front of the people. This man, this human, chose to save what he did not understand. He risked his life for our future. He is not only my bonded one. He is the bridge between our worlds. For the first time, Jake felt proud to stand before the people, not as a soldier, but as a symbol of peace. The city erupted in celebration. Music returned to the air. The towers shone again, alive with light. Later, as the stars rose, Jake, Arasia, and Zero stood on the palace balcony. Watching the planet heal, Jake looked at Zero. You know, kid, this all started because you asked a stranger to marry your mom. Zero smiled, holding both their hands. You were the only one who could save her. I knew you were family, even if you didn't. Arasia placed her hand on Jake's shoulder. Thank you, human. You have given me more than life. You gave me hope. Jake looked up at the sky, full of alien constellations. For the first time in years, he felt truly at home. Down below, the people sang songs of peace, telling the story of the human who brought light back to Varelia. Ships from nearby worlds landed in the city, bringing gifts, news, and promises of alliance. Jake knew there would still be challenges. The scars of war did not heal overnight, but he had learned that hope could grow even in the darkest places if people stood together. In the days that followed, Arasha was crowned once more as queen. Zero stood proudly by her side, no longer just a lost child, but a prince with a future. Jake was given a title he could barely pronounce, Protector of Varelia, Prince Consort, family by bond. But in his heart, he was simply a man who had found a home where he least expected. On the balcony, Zero squeezed Jake's hand. "Thank you, Jake. I have a family now." Jake smiled. "Me too, kid. Me too." As the sun set and the stars came out, three figures stood together, human, queen, and prince, a new family shining bright among the stars. And their story, born from fear and hope, would travel across galaxies, inspiring others to believe that even when everything seems lost, love and courage can create a family and change worlds forever.